Howdy, 102ers. It's your teacher, Hop-Along Christopher, down yonder in Nashville, Tennessee. I honestly don't know what I'm doing as you're watching this, but I'm hoping it involves Nashville hot chicken or barbecue or something else. With any luck, there's not country music blaring 24/7. And there's not much music that I do hate, but country is part of that list. I know. There's probably some of you who are glaring at me over your red Solo cups, calling your friends in low places and begging for someone to put another drink in your hand while you're on the pontoon, but that ain't me. Give me hard rock and metal any day of the week. Anyway, this week is not a very involved week, but it is a very involved week. It's also a week that could possibly make the difference between passing and failing your Unit 3 paper. Don't believe me? Well, let's scroll down to our view course schedule, click on the 102 Masterclass schedule, and go all the way down here to week 8, where we can see that the college will be closed on Tuesday for Independence Day, which is the 4th of July, for those of you who don't know the difference. Anyway, we got our journey starting with 2 files to look at and then 2 assignments to do, including a discussion board, which will really help you with your counter argument. Okay? Your rough draft of the argument paper is this, the research journal checkpoint, the progress checkpoint. And then, as you can see, your paper is going to be due right here in week 10. So you have 2 weeks for that, okay? Because this is a longer video, let's just get started with tips for writing counter-arguments and rebuttals. This page has some nuggets of information, but unfortunately, it's rather quick and lacks a lot of solid discussion on not just what to do, but why we do it in the first place. I've sometimes asked someone else during a debate, did you just wait for me to take a breath so you could just jump in and start speaking, or did you actually have something of note to say? Seriously, how many of us just listen for breaks in the conversation so we can jump in and speak without really listening to the other person's words before we do? That's not giving a counter-argument, that's a verbal attack. A solid counter-argument takes in all of the initial argument points, processes them, and then attempts to refute one or more of these points with counter-evidence. Yes, counter-evidence. That can be defined as evidence specifically found in response to an argument, which is presented in the, you guessed it, counter-argument. I've said before that an argument, and now, in this case, a counter-argument, that has no real evidence to support its points is simply an assertion. We don't like assertions. Assertions are just verbal diarrhea that do more to show your inability to logically respond to that argument than to ever convince your opponent that their argument was wrong in the first place. Knowing that, we need to know how to accurately counter an argument, which is something this page really doesn't do very well. The first thing we have to do is provide a very clear and solid transition to illustrate to your reader that we are leaving the main argument and heading in a totally different direction. There are many appropriate transitions you can use here. Some are listed on this page, and they're not bad. But I have also provided another link that you can use in the announcements, as well as see here. So anything you need should be on this page. As you can see, it's not really as warm and fuzzy as the Delaware Tech Brightspace page, but what it lacks in back rubs and unicorns, it more than makes up for in down and dirty mechanics. By looking at this page, you can see how the sausage is made. Seriously, though, this is very helpful to get you thinking about transitions and assembling the ideas. So taking a look at this, you can see exactly how things need to work. First, contrasting transition. However, but, admittedly, although, alternatively. Name your opposition. Don't just say others and some, though. Say those who believe that physician-assisted suicide should be illegal. Those who believe that needle exchange programs are a problem. You know, that would be reminding your reader where you're going to, okay? Use strong verbs for denial, for assertion, okay? Exercise the opposing point of view. Show exactly what the other people think of that idea. Provide evidence. Remember, evidence is so very important. And then give analysis on it. You're going to do it again, though. Second contrasting transition. Still, however, but nevertheless, yet. And reference that opposing point of view again, and then you turn it back, okay? So this material here, yes, it is a little difficult to grasp on first look, but honestly, once you understand what these nice big phrases mean, it becomes so much easier. Now, as I said, this page isn't great, but it's not terrible. The rest of this page is how to put together the rest of the counterargument and rebuttal. And after that oh-so-necessary transition, you'll need to work CSET into it again by making the claim your main counterargument point. After that, you hit the reader with your setup and then provide evidence as why the claim for your counterargument is actually a strong idea. It's literally like the exact same thing you did in your argument, but now you're going in the opposite direction. Finish up with the tie-in, and you'll actually have a pretty solid counterargument. Now, do not rest on one simple idea. It's so nice that you want to do it at least twice, so go for another counterargument point, okay? Now, once you go for that counterargument point and establish it, you want to switch gears again, once more using CSET, and present why, while the counterargument seems okay, it's actually still all about your argument that you came up with. You can tear down your counterargument here to show why the overall argument is still the strongest thing going today. Again, the most important thing here is both a solid transition showing that you're moving in a different direction again, and the evidence you are using to support these points. So, let me take a second to show you the discussion board that I expect you to do, and this will all make more sense because I put a pretty solid sample post in there. So if you go through this, you'll be able to find out it's going to be the Unit 3 Counterargument and Rebuttal Planning. You can actually see this right here on the assignments portion, participate in the Unit 3 Counterargument and Rebuttal Planning. So it'll tell you exactly what you need to see, but even better than that, what I have done is I have kind of color-coded and put materials in here from my sample post. I'm telling you exactly what I want to see. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2. There's no 3 here because the other 3 was good. But here I have, all this material up here, so you can match them back and forth. If you write it the way I have, it's really helpful, but you don't have to put the 1s, 2s, and 3s, but just make sure that you give a solid counter argument, okay? Establish your argument thesis first, up here, like I did. And then you're going to want to go through with at least 2 counter-argument points, with at least 1 source, but I use 2, and then a minimum of 2 rebuttal points. Bang, bang. Okay? It's going to be longer than most discussion boards, but you can literally take what you've done in this post here and paste it into your final paper. So what do you see here? If you copy and paste this into Microsoft Word, and you set the font size and spacing correctly, that's 1 2/3 pages double-spaced. If your argument was, say, 2.5 pages, and that's probably at bare minimum, you're looking at 4+ pages of text already completed with your background, introduction, and conclusion to go. You're welcome. Now, as you can see, the next page to review is paraphrasing in your argumentative research paper. Unfortunately, this page is not really very good at all. First, you've already seen the whys and wherefores of paraphrasing before. Next, this page isn't really about paraphrasing to begin with. It's someone else's rant on citing paraphrasing. Just remember that if you use any outside source, whether you directly quote it, also known as copying and pasting, or paraphrasing it, also known as taking someone else's ideas and putting them into your own words so everyone understands it better, you must cite it. Now and forever. Don't ever forget that. It's not your material, so you must give credit to the original author. So if this page isn't very good, what's the big takeaway? Well, it's this. The type of citing you must do is APA, American Psychological Association. It is not MLA, which you did in high school. Officially, the American Psychological Association states that you must provide the author, year of publication or update, and the location of the information, that's page or paragraph number, for any direct quote. The APA also states that for any paraphrase, you must provide the author and year of publication or update, but the location of the information is optional, which means you can choose to include it or not, but they leave that up to your receiving institution and the instructor. To be 100% honest with you, I prefer seeing the location of the information. Again, that's the page and paragraph number. In every single citation, this would be the location of the information here. Okay? Why? Why do I like that? Well, in a direct quote, it's a rule. In a paraphrase, it shows me and your other readers not only where the paraphrase begins, right after the year, but also where it ends. Your reader never has to guess if the next sentence is part of your paraphrase at the beginning of your tie-in. There's no muddy waters here, folks. Now, some of my colleagues are dead set against this, and I'm still not sure why. You're literally adding as many characters to the paper as you would if you typed in a telephone number. That's it. Honestly, you're adding more characters with a phone number, but whatever. So this is called bookending, and it's incredibly helpful for everyone involved. So if you want to go through here, you can see how this is going, and examples, and so forth. You do not have to do this Unit 3 paraphrasing project at the end of the page unless you really want to. I'm very happy to receive it, comment on it, and return it to you if you'd like to work on it. If not, it's no skin off my nose, okay? So what are we going to focus on last then? Well, the American Psychological Association's APA format for paper writing. I'm going to make it very easy on you. I've included 3 links in your announcement. The first one will take you to apastyle.org. Well, guess what? This is the first-hand description and ideas behind APA formatting. If you can decipher the technical speak, it's a great page because, well, it's exactly what we're doing. This is exactly what APA puts out. As you can see, it is the American Psychological Association. And all you have to do is just go to reference examples and so forth, and you will find out exactly what APA wants you to do. After that, you can look at one of my favorites, Purdue University's Online Writing Lab, or OWL, OWL. You know, whoo. This page is everything you need for any phase of the writing process. Their APA section here is readable and amazing. So if you click on this, you can see all of these different things you can do with in-text citations and references and so forth. Just make sure you are using the 7th edition. I think somehow you might be able to find the 6th edition archived on their page. Don't use that. Use 7th edition. It's right here. It's the easiest one to get to. Okay, anything before you use that is outdated. After that, there's one thing that I love that I've been using for probably 15 or more years now, and it's this. Now, don't get me wrong. They have updated this. I'm going to blow it up for you. They have updated this every single time APA is updated, but this is perfect, okay? It's the best source that you can use for APA formatting at Delaware Tech. It's the color-coded citation style guide for APA, created by the Delaware Tech library system. You, the students, are literally the intended audience for this. So everything is presented as easily as possible with as many wonderful examples as you could possibly ask for. All the most common conventions are spelled out for you, so I would highly recommend printing it out, obviously in color would be best, and keeping it with you. It gets updated every single time APA updates theirs, so it's top-notch. As you can see, you can make sure that the authors are in red, the years are in green, the titles are italicized and in purple, the publishers are in orange, and so forth. These are books. Down here we have reference books, periodical articles. We have internet stuff. Hey, Mr. Christopher, can I cite YouTube or something? Absolutely. Here are some ebooks. Here's Facebook, how you can do that. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TED Talks. If you're communicating with somebody else outside of the realm of academia, you can show me personal communication. The librarians have done a wonderful job with this, so do not lose out. Finally, you may be thinking that the provided APA references from the databases or the automatic citation generators are going to be perfect. They're not. In my experience, they always get the capitalization wrong and sometimes screw up the punctuation and italics as well. As I will be holding you accountable for the correct format, using those sources I mentioned earlier and creating the references yourself is the safest bet, okay? All right, so we've gone through both of these things. We've touched on APA. We've already actually talked about the Counterargument and Rebuttal Planning board. That looks like this. Oh, nope, looks like this, remember? So go back through there, make sure you're in good shape. And then the next thing we're going to want to talk about is the Unit 3 Progress Checkpoint. So the Unit 3 Progress Checkpoint that you will be submitting is the material that you have so far that I can review and give you feedback on the most important parts of the paper prior to submission in 2 weeks. Basically, I will be looking at your side of the argument, encompassing a minimum of 3 argument points, developed using CSET formatting, where you utilize multiple sources that have been approved. Your counter-argument, which should also be formatted in CSET formatting, showing me a minimum of 2 counter-argument points utilizing multiple approved sources. And your rebuttal, again, CSET, multiple sources, probably 2 paragraphs, or one great big amazing paragraph. I will be looking for detail. I will be looking for source material. I will be looking for cohesion, the way each section seamlessly flows into the next one. I will be looking for the supporting ideas which build up and tear down the thesis statement and solid topic sentences. All of this is important in the development section here. And the development section should probably be about 5 pages or more, double-spaced. If you had listened to me over the last few weeks and done a little at a time, you should be in fantastic shape and not stressed out in the least. If you skipped the videos or just said to yourself, nothing is due, I'll just catch up at the end, then you're probably going to be bad-mouthing me and pulling your hair out. So very quickly, let's take another quick look at what you need to do with the development, because next week, 2 weeks, the final paper is due for your grade. It's time to buckle down. Please make sure you look through the requirements. 7 pages minimum. That does not mean 6 pages and a half. It does not mean 6 pages and a quarter. It does not mean 6 pages and a word on the 7th page. It means 7 full pages. That is a college-wide requirement that you will be held accountable for. So 7 to 8 pages minimum, If you can go higher than that, like 9 pages, 10 pages, then you have nothing to worry about. 3 additional sources, which means 7 total, okay? 7 total. Now, some of the places say 6. However, let's do some math. You found 2 in Unit 1, 2 in Unit 2, and 3 in Unit 3. Now, my math skills aren't all that great, but 2 plus 2 is 4, and 4 plus 3 is 7, right? Okay. So, let's keep that in mind and move on. It must be an APA format, double-spaced, Times New Roman or Calibri 12-point font. You must have 1-inch margins all around. The page number in the upper right-hand corner, okay? That's it. There's no running head. There's no title. You're not your name. I'm going to show you a sample in 2 pages. You will also need your references page, okay? Make sure you're using CSET to put your material in there. Make sure you're using the directions below and the sample provided below to format your paper. Use only the third-person point of view. That's he, she, it, they, them, themselves. Do not use I, me, my, we, our, us. Do not use you, your, yourself, okay? And then down here, it'll tell you exactly what we need to do. It's basically a description of the outline that you worked on last week. You need a 1-paragraph introduction. You need a minimum of 1 paragraph of background. And here is your development. Your argument, a minimum of 3 reasons, should be at least 3 paragraphs. And honestly, if you do those paragraphs correctly, it should be roughly 2 pages or more of all of those things, okay? Counter-argument and rebuttal, minimum of 2 paragraphs here. And as I told you in the discussion board, this should be close to, 2 2/3 pages, 2.5 pages, and automatically right here, you're at 4.5 pages already. Make sure you have your rebuttal, which is at least a minimum of 1 paragraph. And then your conclusion, which will be 1 paragraph. So you add a paragraph here, and then 1 or 2 paragraphs here. You'll make that 7 pages very easy. And then as you can see here, you will understand that the sample comes right next. Here it is. Follow this. Page number, title, your name, Department of English, Delaware Technical Community College, English 102 Composition 2, my name. The due date, which happens to be July 22nd, 2023. And then down here, just make sure that you're doing exactly what you have to do. Here's the title. Here's the introduction. Then we get ideas for subheadings. Here's our background section. 2 paragraphs. Here's our first claim, showing me what that is. And here's a paragraph. Here's our second claim with showing me what it is. And there's a paragraph. Our third claim, another indication of what that is, and another paragraph. And they've gone and given a 4th claim, which you are more than welcome to do with an additional paragraph. Counter-argument, which is 2 paragraphs. We have our rebuttal, which is 2 paragraphs. And we have our conclusion. Finally, we have our references page, which lists every single source we used within the paper in alphabetical order by author's last name. Okay? That's the breakdown of the paper. If you need to submit this to me and you want to look at me as you do this via Zoom, I'm happy to do that. Call me, schedule an appointment, and I will try my best to be available for you. If you don't want to do this, then it has to come in on time, nothing late, so I can get it done and get it back to you. I'm trying my best to give everything to you that you need in order to succeed in this paper. If you just listen to me and follow those instructions, you'll be cruising to the end. If you skip these videos just take your chances by spinning Fortuna's wheel, please don't leave it to chance. I'm trying to make sure that you're ready. And that's it, folks. It's a dense, long, and detailed video, almost 21 minutes long. Rewatch it if you need to. Skip through it. Good luck. Let me know what I can do to help more, and I'll be able to decompress from this trip by the next time you submit something. Yeehaw, and see ya.